just extremely exciting to see this kind of technology entering into archetypes that we thought were like relatively solidified. A lot of talk about whether or not this new Enchantress deck with 3 opals and 3 waves is more of a combo deck rather than a prison deck.
Yeah.
I would be inclined to say so. I mean, because they have a one-track mind. They're just like playing these Miri's Guile. They're setting up their engine. It's just like a really slow, A plus B combo that along the way you kind of give your opponent speed bumps.
Yeah, I mean, Enchantress is no doubt the deck of the tournament in my mind. I think Rich is heavily favored here to win this
Yeah,
match.
you saw some of the gameplay, right?
Yeah,
Of Rich's Enchantress against Stifle Knot.
Rich's sideboard is made to beat Mono Blue Stifle Knot. It is brutal on Moogie's on Wednesday. I watched him play half a dozen matches, and the sideboarding games weren't even close.
Now, it is possible that his testing partner was not the likes of Justin Provencal. Like
That's true.
maybe
I mean,
Justin
Justin
has
chooses
some.
his top 10 cards every match, and he
Yeah,
has
it's
the
it definitely
perfect
seems
tens.
yeah, it definitely seems to be that way. So there's always that underdog possibility,
There is.
and the possibility that Enchantress also mulligans to Oblivion.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Um,
there's no doubt that Enchantress can just draw stinker after stinker after stinker, and Stifle Knot can do its thing.
do you think that accumulated knowledge is going to be a factor here?
No, I think it's a liability main deck. I think it's a liability main deck. It's too clunky. You can't give the time. You need to interact and prevent the drawing enchantments off the table. Um,
So Enchantress is the beatdown, is what you're saying.
I think the ball's in Enchantress's court. Like before game one, what do you have? You have 3 sealing cleansings, 2 swords. You have 5 interaction points with the early
Uh,
dreadnought,
yeah, and then the later on, of course,
and
you have
then you
access
have
to
tide.
Parallax Wave.
Yeah, the wave. So and all of which are clunky without the Sarah Sanctum and other mana ramp uh, abilities there.
Yeah, and then the Stifle Knot that you've seen just a little bit of on stream with the 4 accumulated knowledge main deck, built to grind, built to beat those blue mirrors, and of course the Tide package in the sideboard, along with some annuls, which is going to help out against Enchantress, and maybe some powder kegs to hopefully clean up some Argothians that may make their way onto the table.
Yeah, and as I think we saw in the last match, tides are not nearly as good when your
Your
opponent
opponent.
has Carpet of Flowers.
Ab-
So even if he does choose to go for the Tide plan, Tide chain, with a Sarah Sanctum plus, Carpet of Flowers, he's back up to, 20 mana.
Right, and we've both played basically the original version of this Stifle Knot deck, and it typically tries to cut a lot of the threats and lean on Tide quite heavily. So if Rich just dodges by playing Carpet of Flowers, then
Yeah,
it's kind of left without a plan.
yep, agreed. I mean, it's like, he can tide him out, have multiple times, and he can just play a Sarah Sanctum and get all his enchantments back.
Now, I think we should jump into the action, but my last thing is before once we go into the sideboarding, I think it will be really interesting to see if maybe Justin can contain Carpet of Flowers by just keeping it off the battlefield with those annuls. But yeah, we have action on action. Rich starting off with a Brushland, and Justin starting off with an Opt.
Yeah,
Uh,
what do you think Justin's trying to do? He's not. Is he? I think he would have jammed if he had a protected Dreadnought.
I actually think in this game one,
Five answers. Do you jam turn 2 if unprotected in
against
the
five,
finals of LobsterCon?
and in 5 answers, I'm actually going to follow the advice of David Raska the Wise.
Use all your cantrips.
I would cast all my cantrips before trying to go off, because the nature of the Enchantress engine, especially when you are on the play, you can contain it, and you can contain their mana with a card like Stifle on
That's
that Wooded
thick.
Foothills.
Hey, Stifle. I like that. You want to contain their mana. You want to like keep them under, give you time, get your AKs going, get your card advantage going. Looks like he has a Flash of Insight. Is that the top card? You kind of need to. That card's a little bit of a mana sink that you have to wait for.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Justin is trying to just keep Rich in the stage of the game where he doesn't have the mana to cast all of his spells, because he knows that once Rich leaves that stage of the game, things are going to get really bad for him really quickly.
Oh, he
But
has
that
it.
Stifle costs him. There's an impulse here. We're looking for a Daze, of course. But yeah, that Argothian, of course, very threatening. Um, I don't know if Justin is regretting not representing a counterspell this turn,
Yeah,
but I
that
have
makes
to think that
factory is a little awkward in that case
I have to
because
think that that I
Rich
have
would
to.
have jammed anyway, I think. But
Well, I feel like the stifle might have signified to Rich that that Justin had days, and Rich did not take the bait.
yeah,
And yeah, Justin is going to pass it without making his fourth land drop. So now he just basically stifled his own fetch, just passing the turn without doing
yeah. What did he
anything.
take off the impulse? Do we know? Is that a foil? Looks like a foil.
I see a foil in his hand, but of course, no island to
That's not going to
complement
work
him.
very well if these engines are online, though. Every spell draws a card.
I mean, I'm almost if I'm in this world where I'm trying to keep Rich off his mana, like that wild growth was a candidate for countering because, you know, now the engine's online, it's going to be really really hard to contain Rich's ability to draw towards those copies of Swords of Plowshares and Seal of Cleansing.
Yeah, this is already starting to advantage bar goes towards Rich right now. It's
So we kind
engines
of
are online. He's drawing cards. I think the only issue as of now is he's choked on white mana as interaction, right? So for 12/12 with Seal of Cleansing, so here comes the seal probably. Oh, Sterling Grove.
I do have to say that while Sterling Grove can, of course, tutor that Seal of Cleansing straight up to the top of the deck, I do have to say that this is the position where Justin is kind of facing a fork in the road, basically. The longer this game goes on, it does seem like the window is closing for him, and he needs to choose between patience, casting all your cantrips, or realizing that the runway is starting to tighten. But of course, that doesn't matter because I don't really see combo in his hand, so
Yeah, it
he
doesn't
he
seem
might
like he
not
has
really
it.
have the option. Um, and here's something I've never done. I've never not cast a portent
Yeah, I
that I
think
could.
he's kind of keep up foil.
Yeah, he's looking to
Does he
hard
have
cast
a?
a
I think he
foil.
has a flash of insight too, or at least think I saw one. So that would make sense. Keep up foil. If not, flash of insight for 2. Get it in your graveyard. Start digging for a 12/12.
Right, but
And you gotta if you find that 12/12, you gotta protect it probably 2 to 3x with
uh,
how many cards Rich has seen.
yeah, definitely at least 2x. I mean, luckily copies of Stifle can contain the Seal of Cleansing, but Rich is in a really exciting spot here. He has 2 Miri Skiles trigger, and he also has an instant speed shuffle effect. So if he doesn't like any 3 of these cards, he can take a fresh look at an extra 2, as
Yeah.
well as the enchantment of his choice.
Yeah, what is Rich trying to look for? Sanctum? Is he just trying to get a mana advantage here? I mean, Sanctum blows the top off here, right? With the interaction points.
Yes, absolutely. I think
So
if Rich
Sanct
has access to mana, the world's going to be his oyster because right now
yeah,
he has cards, and if Justin can force him to play a game where he's worried about mana, then then we could see Rich basically not being able to be choked on mana, and of course not being choked on cards, and he'll just have all of the advantages here with Justin left with no place to go.
yeah, going for the Enchantress presence.
Yeah. So of course, one way to get mana is to draw more cards.
Yeah.
Let's not forget to mention. So this Enchantress
So
presence
if
is going
he's
to
not
end up on
going
the
for
top.
seal here, that means he's playing very offensively.
Yeah.
Like that's an offensive line. That's a sign for Justin that he has a lot of interaction points already.
Now, Justin has a lot of gasoline in hand after that accumulated knowledge. So, if this next possible instant speed draw spell can find a Dreadnought this turn.
There's a Dreadnought. He did draw one.
Okay, cool. So, he could
Oh
be. Oh,
man,
that's
mana.
their Sanctum, is it? Yep. And it's possible. Is
So
this the
it's
Enchantress's presence that he tutored for? Yeah, so he kind of had it
and I
hanging
don't think
out.
he can counter this. He has to be careful of
No, he's
wave now, right? Like if wave hits, the game is certainly stalled for
No, I
many
mean
tiers.
Rich just runs away with it, right? He
Yeah,
just he has the wave, he has double Enchantress, they're on the table. Dreadnought can't really properly take them off the table,
yeah,
and the second one is just the nail in the coffin here. So
yeah.
Justin,
And he has
unfortunately,
no interaction points with the Sarah Sanctum pre-board.
yeah,
So this seems. I mean, Justin has to like just jam and just pray.
yeah,
This
Rich,
is this is this is
uh,
this is. Does he not have a stifle vision charm?
it's possible that he knows that he's going to jam, get the Vision Charm in there, and he just needs some insight into the top of
Yeah,
his
he
deck to
needs.
see if he needs to take a different line informed by what's coming. But yeah, Rich is looking at so many cards and is only
Like,
going to draw more.
yeah.
So
So now he has 8. What do we say? He had those 5 interaction points between the seals and the swords, and then he had the 3 waves, which are certainly on. So he has 8 interaction points. Oh no, this is a sign of that's not a strength sign.
yeah, yeah,
That's
attacking.
not what you want to see. I mean, honestly, if I
Oh,
was
I think
Justin, I would maybe not even attack, trying to.
was that a missed portent trigger? Unfortunately, maybe after. It's always hard to remember your portents after you take an action after portenting.
Yeah, you got to get that die in your deck,
Yeah,
or
but
put the card on the table next to you.
yeah, absolutely. But
Yeah,
either
he did miss it.
yeah, but either way, I think I would have been in the territory where I'm just praying and gushing here, right? He's got
Yeah,
that gush in his
you
hand.
you have to hope the 8 cards that Rich has to interact with are in the bottom 20 cards of your deck at this point. It seems.
So, Brian, when you're in a situation like this where it kind of feels like all is lost, do you think it's okay to just start thinking about what you're going to do in game two? Like,
So
let Rich spin his wheels and use your brain for thinking about the future?
I mean, I think you have to look for like the 1% lines, and attacking with the factory is not the line that you need to take there. You need to.
You don't think he can get in 6 more times? What if all of Rich's
No, you say, okay, my chances of winning this game are 0.1%, and that's when your 8 interaction pieces are in the bottom 12 cards of your deck, and I'm gonna gush into exactly what I need and foil gush to counter your interaction points that you have and get there.
yeah, you just got to
And
believe in you got to pray to the shrimp, to
you
the
play,
shrimp
yeah, the
lords.
shrimp lords. Yeah, I like. You gotta pray. And if he's tapping for his
He's
for
got 40
40
mana.
mana,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's a catch 40 mana. Honestly, at this point, it might just be real. Oh, sorry, my bad.
But he
Brian,
still has.
Brian, we missed something.
What did we miss?
We missed something that is sorry, viewers. I'm completely apologizing. We're a couple expert casters over here. We're missing the most obvious line that you take it against Enchantress here. You counter all of the win conditions. Rich only has access to 3 opalescence and 1 replenish. Justin only has to counter 4 more spells to win the game.
Okay.
This is the only line that's available to Justin from this point, and I think he recognized it a lot quicker than we did. That's for sure. He was playing the match slow. Do you think it's possible he went into this match knowing that he would pretty quickly pivot to that? Because I think he had that foil when that first Argothian Enchantress came down, and it's possible he did because he has impulse in response to
Yeah.
Argothian. It's possible he picked up foil and just let Argothian resolve, knowing that he was playing to just cast
True.
4 counter spells in the game.
Yeah. If those are the interaction points, you just can mill them out. You have 5 cards to win the game.
Just 4. 3 opalescences and the 1 replenish are the only win cons in Rich's deck. I'll have the producers confirm by taking a look at the list, but I think Justin is just 4 counterspells from victory. I,
Hmm?
I'm again, I'm just so sorry to the viewers. I feel like we're not on our game here, but this is exactly what's about to happen.
Yeah. Let's see if Rich is just gonna out mana him. There we go.
Absolutely. I mean,
There we go.
Rich can put himself in a position where he is casting all of that in one turn, but he's not doing it now.
Does he have foil?
I think he's
There we
definitely
go.
he's offering it up. And I'm pitching Dreadnought here. Look at that. Dreadnought doesn't do anything. Yeah. Yep.
There we go. Yeah, Justin's on top of his game here.
Right. Yeah. And Rich of course has plenty of mana, but the next 3 spells need to be in his hand very quickly. He needs to be in a spot where he can make 12 mana, or no, the next 2 spells. He needs to be in a spot where he can make 8 mana and hope that Justin just has 1 counter spell in his hand.
He has a
Meanwhile,
foil in his hand too, right? Is that top card of foil?
I think it definitely seems plausible. I think I see a counterspell as well. He's got those beautiful Mercadian Mask counterspell. That could be the second card in his hand. I can't be absolutely certain, but regardless, I mean, this is what we're sweating right now, and I think Rich potentially knows it. And look, in the testing session at Moogie's, is this something that came up?
Not as frequently as I remember. It was, I think, after board. He has Guy's Blessing, so that helps loop his deck. So that makes it so he doesn't run out of win conditions. I think that is part of the reason that he brings in a huge package of Guy's Blessings. Um, oh man,
Yeah, so
there we go.
yeah,
That's
and Rich is shaking his head. He sees what's happened here. Um, and it's possible that he has another Opalescence to cast, but it is also one of those points in the Enchantress decks. These Enchantress triggers are not you may triggers. So as a result, if this Opalescence is awkwardly placed in the bottom of Rich's deck, then he could be in trouble. And yeah, that solitary confinement says skip your draw step, but you can't keep it up forever.
So what's his win conditions left now? So he
The
has
last Opalescence.
the last one Opalescence left.
Oh, and he's going to put it into his hand, and Justin is looking at that gush in his hand. And I don't know if the other card is a foil, but obviously he would have no choice but to cast it. Cast that gush, looking for that third foil. And here we go. Peel, peel.
Is that top card chain? Yeah, there's a,
I'm just
I
at the
think
edge
there's
of
another draw
I'm
trigger on the stack.
I'm at the edge of my seat right now. I'm not sure exactly what the action here is, but I think Opalescence is resolving or resolved.
And then he has Opal Wave now, so what's the game here?
Well, he doesn't have a he, either he doesn't have 20 damage or he doesn't have
Yeah, he
a
doesn't have 20 damage, but he will very quickly.
right. We're identifying the enchantments that aren't summoning sick. It looks like Justin is completely on top of it, and this was an extremely interesting situation here. I think
Yeah, he
Rich,
just out maned, out carded, and found the number of
yeah,
win cons he needed.
and I want to talk about a really important thing here. This Enchantress deck featuring 4 Exploration and 4 Sarah Sanctum is basically prepared to do that, make tons and tons of mana. So Justin just one counterspell short of getting the job done here. And honestly, I feel like he didn't miss a single point of mana here. Look, he's tapped with his factory. He cast both foils. He's got barely any cards left in hand. So he really did do everything that he possibly could. I don't think he spent
And
a
he
single
almost got there.
counterspell on a non-win, yeah, on a non-win con.
If he had the foil for the Opal, does he get there?
Absolutely. Rich has no choice but to deck, and Justin actually just has to do nothing and wait for Rich to discard every card in his hand to solitary confinement, and then eventually sacrifice the solitary
So I
confinement.
think he has a chain in hand. So what? If he top decks the chain
If
in
he top
hand,
decks foil,
if he
then
top decks foil, then maybe is one draw.
yeah, Rich is notably not ending this turn with a with a the shroud, and yeah, so
There it goes.
extremely interesting match. I think Justin just played every beat of that super tight. I mean, it is worth pointing out that Justin is not going to fail to pay attention to what Mike Packer's up to, because Mike Packer was playing Enchantress at a previous monthly in Mass, and I assume all these Mass guys, they're just looking to one up each other. We've got a
Yeah.
culture in New York that some of the crushers in New York, you just show up and you're just trying to beat that one guy, because there's just no point in playing the tournament if you can't beat that one
Yeah,
guy.
if you want to win the tournament, you got to beat everyone else.
Absolutely. And so, Justin could have been like game recognized game. I'm going to look at these Enchantress lists and figure out a plan for how to defeat them. And he came just one counterspell short. I think something random got countered, like vanilla countered spell that wasn't an Opalescence, but we'd have to play back the tape. But otherwise, um, extremely solid resolve from Justin to
Yeah.
play the maximum
But
patience game.
if he was after that game of just run him out of win count cons, what's the point of attacking with the factory, right? So maybe he was hedging a little bit, right? Like because
Yeah, yeah,
he
that's
was
true.
gushing, he could have left mana up. I guess he doesn't have mana leak in his deck, or it wouldn't have done anything. But he would have been maybe drawn into AK and to draw more cards. So
That's true. I mean, I doubt that Justin's fast factory attack cost him the ability to cast a cantrip. I have to believe that he knew that if he's on this game plan, which he showed that he was on,
yeah,
that if he had impulse, he wouldn't have attacked with factory, and he was like literally taking the 2 damage because it's free.
yeah. But if he was gonna gush foil, then he might have been able to draw into an impulse to look for the last foil to win that game.
Right, right.
So it wasn't going to turn out that way. It didn't turn out that way.
Yeah,
But
every mana counts. And yeah, we're going to see annuls the Tide plan, and with Rich's Guy's blessing, Justin's
yeah,
task is going to be a lot higher. And sorry, before we fully transition, I just wanted to point out Rich was prepared for Justin being prepared, making tons and tons of mana and having all the land drops to cast 4 casting cost white spells in one turn. So That's something that you
That's
don't see every
insane.
day.
Yeah. With the exploration and sanctum,
Yeah,
sanctum.
yeah,
And I
4
get
of each.
Rich was singing the praises of Mike Packer innovating to add that fourth sanctum. I guess for a very long time, everyone was at 3, and the innovation of the weekend, according to Rich, was shaving some of the or increasing the wave opal wave to 3s, and especially the going to the number 4 Seraph Sanctum.
Right. And with these Xantid Swarms and Gaia's Blessings and the additional replenish, and of course Carpet of Flowers to just gas up this mana, this post
Yeah,
sideboard match
this
is going to cut off very effectively the ability for Justin to play the control here and
yes,
do that just counter win
this
cons. So we gotta just jam a Dreadnought, I think.
yeah, this sideboard is made to go long against Dreadnought, and it cuts off the Tide plan. It cuts off,
Right. Aura of Silence making Tide very difficult to cast.
and even getting the Dreadnought if it gets down. Um, he has a lot of interaction points with swords, so swords and seals. It's. I think it's really tough for Justin to come back from this. Like Rich, on at Moogie's, I was trying to convince Rich that he was over sideboarding for this matchup, and Rich has, is here, so he's clearly probably in the right.
Yeah, he
It
got the
just
matchups he
the
wanted. Yeah.
matchup looked, as I was watching him play this against Stifle Knot, it looked so lopsided in his favor in sideboarded games that I was trying to convince him that he should probably hedge some of the sideboard slots for other matchups.
Do you think that Siphonaut is sort of twisting the format around it and it's just in the finals here anyways? So as a result, like, does this really say anything about whether Siphonaut is sort of in a healthy place in the format if it makes it all the way to the finals, presumably against other Rich Shays out there with hateful sideboards and only falling to the Rich Shay if it falls to the Rich Shay to an extremely hateful sideboard?
Hey, Rich being prepared for this matchup. I mean, the Stifle Knot is the boogeyman of the format, along with Replenish. Enchantress is famously bad against Replenish, which Rich managed to
Beat
eke
in
out in
his
his
winning
win
out.
and
Yep.
in, right? That was a very, really close match.
That was against Claire. Right.
Yes, right. That was a very, very close match. Um, Stifle Knot is the boogeyman of the format. You got to go through Stifle Knot to win a tournament these days. And if you want to win a tournament and you're comfortable with the rest of your matchups, over
Then
sideboarding for Stifle Knot so you can have a cruise to the finals
so
victory.
you're co-signing my burn deck with 15 sideboard cards for Stifle Knot then, right? As a
Well,
result of this.
Burn has a different matchup spread than Enchantress.
Okay, okay.
Enchantress seems to have a really polarized matchup spread
Right, with
where
some of those.
it's like smoking good against many, and then it's like near hopeless against Replenish.
I mean, I
And
think
until Replenish just almost disappeared this weekend, it was very. I'm curious to see what the metagame report's going to be, but it was not well represented this weekend, especially the top tables. Claire being the
being the
one
best.
Replenish that I saw at the top.
Yeah, and we got action. This Xantid Swarm is here, and the Powder Keg is there right
All
back to
right.
respond. So Rich might find a Seal of Cleansing here to deal with the Powder Keg, but unless he doesn't, then he's got to say bye to his extremely
Yeah, it's just
useful
like
sideboard tool.
a 1 mana, 1 for 2 mana interaction point, and it's still favorable for Rich in this case. It's a small. He has 3 swarms versus 1 keg.
Well, I do see the Dreadnought in Justin's hand, so I think he came to party and he is looking for a fast Dreadnought resolution in these sideboard matchups, knowing that he can't go long. He
He
can't take,
cannot go long.
according to the original sideboard guide, Enchantress matchup was just like sometimes it was just use factories to attack and win, and that's just not an option here. And I think Justin has identified that.
Yeah, he has to jam if he wants to win. He's not going to win the long game. I don't know how. It's not open deck list, so I don't think he knows quite everything that Rich is doing in his sideboard.
Right, but a stock Enchantress list will have some of those Xantid Swarms tools,
Yeah,
or
I
it
mean,
might just play, a bunch of Seal of Cleansing.
yeah.
So Justin,
His
of course,
Antiswarm seems like it's been more of an innovation recently in the past 3 to 6 months. Um, Decks were not supporting this beforehand. It's so good at a different fab decks. It's certainly really good here. Um,
yeah,
to
if you're gonna resolve something, obviously really important against the Dreadnought deck, and yeah, Justin basically changing gears here, and so again, I really just love seeing players adapt, making changes between game one and game two. Justin knowing that he can contain Rich's engine and possibly outdraw him on cards. So
Yeah, we'll see if
Rich,
keeps in. Do you think he keeps in his AKs in this matchup?
I think that counterspell on that Argothian definitely cues the possibility that he's going to use those AKs to sort of gas up and keep Rich stalled on cards because Enchantress doesn't quite have that power. Like the powerful draw end is concentrated in Enchantresses, and you only have 8 in your deck. So if you don't see Enchantresses, you just draw 1 card a turn. Now Rich, of course, has the Sylvan here, so those turns are going to turn into Ponder. He's going to use fetches to select for things, but at the end of the day, Rich has kind of cashed in his
Is that a Wooded Foothills that he just cracked for
yeah,
Plains?
extra shuffle effect.
But
That
why?
Wooded Foothills can't find a mountain, but Rich is playing 4
He
Mirror
just found a
Style.
Plains with
Oh yeah, that's
that.
actually a good point. If we can call that out and hold play, because Rich did just he fetched a
He,
Plains with the Wooded Foothills. Yeah, okay, yeah, it's
yeah,
possible
that
that we're on a
seems.
slight delay, but it'd be unfortunate. Yeah, so we're getting
Why does
Jay
he
to
has no red in the deck? So is that just purely a shuffle
yeah,
effect
it's a
for
shuffle effect.
For
Yeah,
Guile
he's got
and
4 Guile and 1 Sylvan.
okay, so it's purely a shuffle effect.
Right. Rich is valuing the selection, and yeah, so uh, definitely a small one there, and yeah, unfortunately, play is definitely going to continue. But good catch, Brian. I mean, you're just totally dialed in. So shout out to my co-caster here. It's a small one, but yeah, it's those.
But this, I mean, this is gonna be awkward. Like if this aura silence changes and we're 3 minutes late, and that changes, like this is awkward.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
This is not where you want to be
Unfortunately, we
in the
do.
finals of 2025 LobsterCon.
Look, we have a judge watching the match. We have 3 people watching what happened, and at the end of the day, the only way that this policy can work is that we've moved past the part
Yeah,
of a rewind, and as a
Ju-
result, we just have to play it as it lies, and we have to continue playing this game. It's an unfortunate mistake, but hey, this is paper magic, and this is going to happen in paper magic.
oh,
And
what a feel bad though. That aura silence is so good.
yeah, that is definitely good, and I think and listen, I think Rich would be the first person.
Oh
Rich called a judge on himself earlier today when
yeah,
he
I mean
made a
that's
mistake,
no
and
shade on Rich
yeah,
for
he
sure.
yeah
He
he takes
is.
no pleasure in potentially influencing the match in this way, and as a result, and look, I think we're just catching up to the live stream here,
Yeah, there we go.
and we're in a position where that's absolutely making a difference, and I think we're talking it out. So yeah, we will see what the judge ends up deciding to do with this situation. I don't want to talk too much about policy. I think it's just kind of like
It's up to the judge and kind of the REL level.
right. I mean, we're doing comp REL,
It
but like
is.
a warrant. Like the problem is, we've moved ahead so many turns that oftentimes a rewind is not possible. And
Yeah,
when a rewind's not
I feel
possible,
like a rewind is most definitely not possible here. Like this, there's too many things that have happened. But man, if I was Justin, I would be really livid
yeah. Look,
with
this
the aura silence being such an impactful card.
Yeah, and
Um,
and this is actually extremely difficult because Rich can offer to pick that Aura of Silence up as a way to remedy the situation, but even doing that is sometimes not in line with policy. So we'll see how this shakes out. This is unfortunately going to be a little bit of a collision between comp REL and policy and sort of like the vibes policy, which is like,
yeah,
ah man, let's just fix this.
yeah.
And I do advocate for, every other pre-modern tournament to be kind of a let's just fix this atmosphere, but it's just
This
really
is the
difficult
finals
to,
of LobsterCon.
yeah,
You want this fair and square,
yeah,
right? You don't want any shade. Like Rich doesn't want to win this way. We all know the kind of character Rich is. He's if he wins LobsterCon
he wants to do it
and
clean, yeah.
he
And
has
yeah,
this
and this
shade,
happened, he would never,
yeah.
he
I
wouldn't even feel good about himself.
right. I think it's more likely that Rich just puts that card into the graveyard, and then anything else. Like if the judge says let it lie how it goes,
Then
he
he'll
goes
target itself, yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
I think Rich is just gonna. If I was him, like knowing Rich and how much so much of a high standard character he is, I think he's just gonna or silence itself and just put it to the graveyard and
Yeah.
say that's my mistake. Let's just be done with this. I'll mulligan that card. Let's
Yeah,
move on.
yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
he's not like, and the only awkward part in this is if Justin would have Dreadnought at
Acted
last
differently. Yeah,
turn.
yeah, absolutely. Right. All right. So the ruling on the floor, and we'll catch up to it in a couple of minutes here, is that no rewind is possible after the library trigger and whatnot. Um, but look, this has happened. This has happened at the Pro Tour, everyone. So like, you got to give our judges a break. Our volunteer judges, just like spending an entire day. We are over 12 hours into this day. So everyone's
These guys' heads are mush at this point.
yeah, absolutely.
Like they've had long days, like Stifle Knot all day. You've been there, I've been there. They're not easy days.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. And you just, look, it's unfortunate, but this is kind of how things happen. And, uh, it's definitely a very difficult spot, but a lot is on the line. And look, the judge at the end of the day is the authority. And, they are there to be the authority such that, you know, uh, they don't have like an emotional investment. It's not like Nick from Duress Crew is down there
yeah,
calling the shots,
I mean that's
right?
their
It's not
job.
like it's not like we're gonna decide what happens. Like the judge is there to be an arbiter, and let's just try to get back into this match and hopefully enjoy it the best that we can, knowing that it has been a little bit scuffed, but there's still some magic to be played. Um, you know, uh, Justin is down, but not necessarily out, so it is possible that we could see uh, something happening here.
He AK'd for 1 in response. Not a strong sign. I'd be thrilled if I was rich with that interaction. And now let it stick.
Yep, Rich picking up and possibly protecting his Trevor's ruins, and yeah, Rich is
Oh
taking the beat
man,
down. 5 damage a turn is quite the clock. That's better than 3/1/1s. That's a 2/2 and a 3/3.
yeah, those things are sizable creatures. Now this is your silence being in town and play makes it so he can't play the tide.
Yeah,
I don't know if he has a stifle in hand, but he can't play it.
yeah, yeah. He's
So now
definitely
he's going to
handcuffed
be at
here,
least down to 5, probably
and he needs the
more.
mana. He needs the mana, so he can't cast the gush that's in his hand either. So Justin is really handcuffed here, and it's definitely a difficult spot to be in if you're Justin. Um, uh, What what could he possibly take as outs? I mean, Rich has traded his attunement for Aura of Silence, but it deals 3 damage all the
I
same.
think you need to chain. I mean, everything starts with chain. Oh boy,
Yeah, well, this has to get
this
countered.
this this is it. Does he have interaction on this? Is there any mana floating? So even if he has a chain right now, I guess you could always chain the opalescence later.
Yeah, you could. The wave can't protect the opalescence. And I also wanted to point out, a lot of this game came down to Rich just drawing a bunch of extra cards off Sylvan Library. Rich is down to 6 life here, so he's dug
Yeah,
3 cards deep into that library plus some
and
fetches,
you don't
or
need
maybe four
you don't need
cards.
any
Yeah,
stinking
Enchantresses. Yeah,
enchantresses out.
you just
And
need a life
yeah,
total and a Sylvan.
just imagine if you were playing commander and you started with 40 life. Think how many cards you would have drawn then.
Yep, and
Did
Justin is
So he
definitely.
plays the carpet in his second main. Why wouldn't he have done that in the first main? Did he draw that somehow?
Um, well, there is a little bit of a heuristic to resolve your attacks before casting additional
Yeah,
spells.
sure.
So
I guess if
Rich
he's
might
not
be
gonna.
playing
I
a
mean,
lot of that. I
he has
think
like
I think
three
Rich
cards.
is rattled. Like the look on his face is
Yeah,
like
he's.
absolutely tough. And look, it's really difficult to process in moments like these. Like I just want to share with you. Like I've been in these positions where like Rich has got the weight of the world on his shoulders. Like
Yeah,
he wants to win this match,
yeah.
and so
You can look at the
not seeing
focus on his face right
yeah,
now.
like
Like he
not
is.
not not like thinking here to like just like skip. I think afterwards it's possible that he could reflect on this and think about how he could have treated the situation differently, knowing that of course it was a mistake and whatever. But like in this position in the hot seat, it's really hard to look at this with perspective. So I just wanted to encourage
Yeah,
everybody to give Rich Shea the most
yeah,
grace possible to
yeah.
continue to play this match.
Rich is missing some of his triggers. He is rattle. I mean, I think he might be smelling some blood here too. So
Yeah, he's just kind of getting busy, but we do have the Chain of Vapor on the Opalescence to extend the outcome of this game. Um, and this is my favorite thing in the world, just a bunch of tapped enchantments.
yeah, they just remove from combat.
Yep, they're just tapped. They can't activate their tap abilities. They
Yeah,
can't, if they're blockers, they can't deal damage. I don't know if we play by those rules anymore.
no, I don't think we do. Um, but if you were blocking and they tapped, they would be, they would have blocked the creatures.
Yeah, just imagine a bunch of enchantments, just like the essence of things turned into mobile
I know, and
creatures,
then
and
just
then
poof,
yeah, proof
vanished.
gone. You're just like running at them with your sword, and then all of a sudden you're just like driving your sword through some books in the Sylvan Library that
Yeah, it's
used
just
to
like,
be.
wait a minute, like you used to have some muscles and a sword,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
anymore.
Is that how it? Do you kind of feel like the? Yeah, yeah. I wonder how opalescence like even like works. Like, if you're the aura of silence, like how do you pick up a sword and get into battle? You just like throw this like little orb he's got here and just turn it into a Hadouken.
Yeah, I think if you, he's gonna go for the gush here. Um, I think if you think through a little too much about the magic lore and the
Oh
enchantments,
no, this is double gush to look for counterspell. This is my least favorite place to be. No, look at this. Rich picking up the opalescence, thinking that something was gonna get played here, and if we had impulse, it's our last hope.
yeah,
But and I think it's
AK.
AK as our last hope. Oh my lord, there is I think 3 impulse in this list instead of 4 because of the accumulated knowledge. And
Oh, he
Justin
found
finding the
it.
annul after the last draw trigger.
How
Rich
many
down to
cards is
two
he? How
cards.
many cards is he gonna discard? You think next turn?
5, 4,
Jeez.
4, and of course artifacts and enchantment spells cost 2 more mana, so
And
he's
he
gonna need
is.
this.
Oh, that's a little scary. He has
That's
a couple answers in play,
yeah,
but
yeah, absolutely. And
and he's on a fresh shuffle, right? With Sylvan, he fetched last turn, so he's looking at
yeah, yeah,
three new
he
cards.
is looking at 3 new cards, but it is it is an interesting spot. Rich could definitely gas out. He could definitely flood out from this spot, and of course Justin threatening that 5 life. You know, potentially able to stifle the
Ooh,
Aura of
there
Silence
is a
trigger.
replenish there.
Oh boy.
So boiler busts.
Yeah, absolutely. And this daze still in post board for Justin. Kind of an interesting one. Maybe Justin was kind of looking for the nuts with this daze. And Argothian from Rich is the bait for that replenish, and Argothian is resolved, so I think that's telling Rich that the
Yeah, this
coast is clear
game.
here. Although he does have, oh no, he has plenty of mana. He can, I mean, he has carpet mana. I don't know if he's putting the
He used the
carpet mana
carpet
on.
for the Enchantress.
Yeah,
So he is, unless there's a foil hiding in the back of Justin's hand, this replenish is going to get there. 40.
and a Sterling Grove coming down. Rich is kind of using everything as bait, but again, even just the one Enchantress is enough of an engine.
Yeah,
Like if,
everything cycles, everything has some utility.
yeah, and Rich is going to get in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, so this game definitely uh,
Hmm.
drawing to a potential conclusion here. Of course, with Rich, just plenty of threats, and
Ooh, with 1 mana remaining.
yeah,
Holy
even
cow,
beat the
Rich.
days. And
Didn't
yeah, Justin is definitely struggling here. That's a tough one, tough spot
in
to
the
come back from.
finals.
Yeah, but you know, that's the game, and congrats to Rich. And I think that's
Holy cow.
I think that's just you have a new pre-modern
We
champion, Rich
do.
Shay.
Rich Shay.
Rich Shay on Enchantress, the Enchantress deck, a deck that many had written off because of those polarized matchups, as you mentioned before. But I think they're talking it out. I mean, I think there's a plausible case to be made that Rich could have played out of that spot. The Carpet of Flowers would have just meant that the mana was irrelevant, and he could have fought harder. Um, let's not take away from Rich's accomplishment here. It's always tough when something like that happens in a match. It's tough for both players. It's tough for us as viewers. It's tough for us as a community. But look, there's still something to be celebrated. We had the largest pre-modern tournament ever played on this planet.
Amazing.
I know they host the Universal Champs out in, whatever to represent the entire
There's
universe,
only
but
one LobsterCon.
yeah, there's only one LobsterCon. North America um, has the rest of the world cooked. I mean, 280 and Massachusetts has the rest of the states cooked.
Let's just talk about Rich for a second. He
Yeah.
won the old school LobsterCon last year.
Yeah.
Right? The main event last year. He won the main event this year. He played Replenish yesterday.
Yeah.
Didn't feel good. He's been talking about how Replenish doesn't feel good anymore.
Yeah.
Made the audible to Enchantress, and look at him.
Yeah.
Rich
Hoisting the trophy and
he's gonna get another enchantment banned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Which enchantment is he gonna get banned now?
Mirri's Guile.
Mirri's
Guile is taking the hit on this one.
Yeah, Yawgmoth's Will. Bargain.
No, Necro. I mean,
Necro.
Actually, I've got some live breaking news from Sweden. Is that Necropotence unbanned? Hi, Martin. Yep, Martin. Is that you? Yeah, Necro. Announced Necro unbanned right now. But yeah, no. And we are going to try to see if we can get a winner's interview with Mr. Rich Shay. We got to get a trophy handoff with Brian Selden.
You want me to go down there?
Sure. Yeah, we got to get the ceremonious LobsterCon trophy handoff. But I also want to say that Rich Shay thought he was previously cursed, multi-time vintage world champion runner-up, and a LobsterCon
His curse is over.
2022 runner-up, 2023 missed, 2024 missed the LobsterCon top 8, but had hoisted the final trophy in old school, and coming back with a vengeance here in pre-modern in 2025. I mean, Rich is really coming up when it counts. I think that there might have been a period after that land tax ban where he might have been left without a little bit of direction. Land tax, of course, quite the powerful enchantment. Rich tried a bunch of different things. And honestly, when's the last time you pivoted off of your pet deck onto like another deck for the sole purpose of winning? Like, that's a really hard thing for a lot of us to do. Like, I feel like I'm stuck on my pet deck ever. And if somebody tells me like, hey, or if I have one tournament where I'm like not really liking the meta, like I just like keep plowing forward and keep playing it. But Rich showing that he has range and that he's just not just a one deck
Rich
man.
is the definition of range. Like his strategic ability is bar none in this format. Deck builder, tuner, tweaker. He's unreal.
Yeah, and the processing power. I mean, sometimes he just kind of can see things as possible. Look, man, maybe his brain was just like running so hard it just railroaded past that wooded foothills. But you got to hand it to him. This was a long tournament. This is a lot of rounds to fight through, and beating Replenish in a win and in when that's one of your just absolutely rancid matchups, like that's the kind of thing that it takes the heart of a champion to do.
Yeah, sometimes the cards have to go your way, and you have to demonic tutor every turn and draw what you need to.
Right.
And
is that what it feels like? Because I know you have the heart of a champion. Is that what it feels like when you hit that card off the sweep pot?
Sometimes when you like when you're feeling hot, you're like, I need this
hot
card.
Hands.
You're just like
chosen one.
Yeah, right.
Nice.
Just like every turn, you're like, I need to do runner to win, and you sometimes get it.
Yeah.
Or sometimes it was the matchup lottery that you win.
Yeah.
And then it's just you just have to one step at a time and do whatever was right in front of you.
Yeah, and look, let's not forget Justin. That game one was really excellently played.
That was excellent.
He really came in with so much resolve and so much focus, and we're sitting here trying to think about how he's going to get protected Dreadnought, and all he's thinking about is 4 counter spells.
Right.
And he just spent the entirety of that match working towards 4 counter spells. I think Rich probably surprised him with his ability to cast the remaining 3 threats in his deck all in the same turn. I think that's a unique feature of how this Enchantress deck is built.
Right.
But it's a razor thin margin though. Like Rich is basically nearing the end of his deck.
One foil away from losing that game 1.
Right. And if he, that Sterling Grove could have been in a different place in Rich's deck, like placed such that Rich couldn't couldn't find the Opalescence without the draw triggers killing him. And so it's extremely intricate, and I think Rich I think Rich knew that. I mean, initially when I thought the first two got countered in the same turn, we were just basically saying like, oh, like this is it for Rich because there's no way he can get the third one. It doesn't look like he has the third one, and it didn't seem like he had the mana to cast a third thing. But like we said,
Exploration, Trevor's Ruins.
oh yeah, the Trevor's
The,
Ruins
the,
allowing you to pick up the Seraph Sanctum that you already have, and then double
yeah,
Sanctum
that was
in addition to the fourth copy of Sanctum.
yeah, yeah. Sanctum ritualing over and over and over again.
Yeah.
It creates a lot of white mana for all those powerful white
Yeah, all
spells.
those
Replenish
dub
and
too. So honestly, after that, I think it's really hard not to say that this Enchantress deck is a combo deck. I mean, come on.
it seems real. It seems it seems real. It
Yeah.
seems like it's turning. Mike Packer won the most recent monthly
Yeah.
with a very similar list.
Yeah.
It seems like it's
Well, you know,
the boogeyman is shifting.
yeah, but
The
well, you know,
boogeyman, there's always have to be a boogeyman
oh,
in
you
this
think
format.
Enchantress is the new boogeyman? It's just gonna crush people at your next pre-modern tournament.
If you can afford it,
Yeah, those
mean,
Seraph Sanctums are
the Sarah
quite
Sanctums
pricey.
are brutal.
I have one more fun technical thing to point out. That one copy of Sylvan's Library in Game 2, that is the one card that Rich has that Packer doesn't, coming
Rich.
absolutely in clutch. So those fun of one-ofs, like those are absolutely the thing, and I think we're going to see Rich Shay in the interview. Let's see that. Let's get this on camera. Yeah.
As the prior champion. Yeah, come sit down. Oh, what did you ask? Oh, this is a LOBSTERCON stamp, so I can build my own LOBSTERCON cards. Sylvan joined by Lanny.
Yeah, that's. Look at this sweet trophy. They've come a long way since last year. Beautiful trophy
Ah,
to a well-deserved
thank you, champ.
man. Congratulations, Rich. You deserve it.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, and it's genuinely an honor. It is truly an honor. The Duress Crew has built something beautiful. The stream was perfect. The design, the layout, the order, the organization of the tournament. It was smooth. It was efficient, and you guys did an amazing job. Brian, it's an honor to take on the championship. You've made New England proud for a very long time, really. And I gotta. This is my opponent in the finals. He and I tested that matchup a lot. I had a very good sideboard plan because of testing with him. Chris Toller, Mike Packer, these guys put in the work to make the innovations that made Enchantress so good. So I just was extremely benefited. I was my brain is mush. But all I know at this point is that I'm the beneficiary of people putting a lot of work into Enchantress. There's an active Discord, and the work that those guys put in was just phenomenal. And I've worked with some amazing people for this event. William, Raska, Danny. I'll butcher your last name if I try to say it, but there's an R in there. And my friend Matt, who's been coming over my house to test to prepare for this. So really, this is something that is the result of a lot of people putting in a lot of amazing work, and none of this would be here if the Duress Crew hadn't put on such an incredible event, and of course, if New England Old School and DFB and Jared hadn't made LOBSTERCON into the amazing thing that it is. So I'm just here for the ride and to appreciate all of that.
And it's a well-deserved win. And remind you, you did win the last event, the main event last year. My win last year was the precursor event to LOBSTERCON, so this does make you a two-time LOBSTERCON champion.
Was it the precursor last year?
Yeah, it was. The main event was the old school one that you won.
Oh, you won the pre-modern main twice.
I did.
So two-time Saturday. Yeah, two-time LOBSTERCON main event winner. I'm only halfway to where you are, and it's a long time before I get my name signed on a gold-bordered ATOG.
That's true. We can arrange one of those.
Band and Commander. No, band in a Popper.
Popper.
Yeah.
Too good for Popper.
Too good for Popper. Makes sense. So, and thanks to everyone watching, this was great, I just feel humbled, honestly.
So if you reflect on the top 8 in your 3 matches, what are your thoughts on how the matches went? Did you 2-0 2-0 2-0?
I don't remember.
Was it
My brain is mush. Honestly, my brain is mush. I am whatever you get when you combine hunger, exhaustion, and the crash from a caffeine high.
just one step
everyone
ahead
I
of
played
like one
against
step
was
and
amazing. Yeah. No, I'm barely here, and I don't remember what state I'm in. But I played against a Charbelcher deck with Devourer. I was very fortunate. He didn't have any discard, any Duresses. Those are very scary in the match, and I just happened to have the pieces I needed. Um, I played against a blue-white control. Again, just this build is very good against blue. And no, I haven't had anything to drink today. But 3 Xanthid Swarm, 3 Carpet of Flowers, and 2 Guy's Blessings. And it's been such a nice setup against anything blue. And in the finals, I was Justin's a great player. He joined the format less than a year ago, I think, and here he is getting second place. And I've tested a lot against him.
how were you feeling the game 1 as he was countering all your win conditions and getting down to the last one that you had to get resolved? Were you
That was intense. He was one of yeah, that was it. I felt like I had to go for it that turn, because if I didn't, then he would untap and have more counters online. There's 2 ways that Dreadnought wins that matchup, and the first one is 12-12ing you. And the second, at least game 1, is milling you. But milling you really means make it such that you have no win conditions left in your deck. And in the Spring Fling, I actually main decked Guy's Blessing to account for that. So you'd have 3 more must counters. I didn't today, and I think they're more sideboard cards than main deck cards. But oh yeah, no, I was I was at the edge of my seat, waiting to find out if I won the game or he won the game.
right? Put
Yeah.
that on the stack and cross your fingers.
Yeah, that's all you can do, Just you have to accept what happens, right?
Yeah.
You play your
Okay.
cards on the stack, and maybe they'll resolve, and maybe they won't. That's not under your control. What's under your control is just trying to play the best Magic you can. All right, well, LobsterCon, hopefully, we'll be back for 2026, but we'll be here for old school in September? So good, come win the title from me. It'll be good. I could be where Brian Selden is.
And I guess that concludes the 2025 LobsterCon. Congrats, Rich.
Thank
Major
you.
accomplishment.
Thank you.
Nicely
You would
done.
know. You would know.
I guess that's us signing out.
Hey, thanks everyone.